Angie Grimes is a spiritual architect, providing inspiration, knowledge, and motivation, teaching you to look within and awaken, guiding individuals to use practical techniques to reactivate understanding and spiritual connections so that they can begin masterfully building the life of their desires. Angie deeply values balance in all aspects of life and is focused on personal and professional development by actively shifting perspectives, addressing human conditioning, and centering a new emotional state. It is Angie's intention that by sharing her story, it offers hope, inspiration, connection, and a renewed understanding that you too can masterfully build your world by feeling and acting like the miracle that you are. Hi, Angie.
Hi, Sally. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to have you here. I can't believe you live in Dallas.
So it's interesting. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from you, right?
I know it. We were going to do this live, but it didn't. I was too afraid of the technical difficulties. I haven't had just an awful lot of success with technical. But Angie, tell us your story.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll try to condense this because it could be long and fascinating, but I'll try to make it short. So I historically have been in the tech industry. I'm actually a serial entrepreneur, and I have run, built, and consulted on multi-million-dollar businesses. And I went through a process that I had co-founded a company. And after a decade of being in partnership, I actually got fired. And I will tell you, it took me 3 years to admit this to anyone. Like, I left of my own accord initially. But the truth of the matter is that I was fired, and I was so incredibly lost as a person because I realized after I got fired that I identified who I was in the world with what I did. And when I lost what I did, I actually lost who I was as a person. So, you kind of go through this like spiraling effect. Amongst that time, I had like another like catalyst in my life that I was with someone for 11 years and he actually passed away. And it was very unexpected. And this led me to question not just who I was, but like what was the purpose of being here, right? So I kind of got led down this beautiful path. And throughout that, I ended up being introduced to human design through a friend of mine, actually. And she's like, you need to check this out. And when I found human design, it just was like light bulbs went off like all throughout my body. It was incredible. I understood a lot about it without understanding anything. It's an incredibly complex system. So for those of you that don't know, I define human design as your human existence aligned with your divine self to know the truth of you. That's a little bit about my story, Sally.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's see. I'm guessing you have a lot of Capricorn in you because that is their whole deal is to work, work, work. They are the workaholics.
Yeah, I do. I actually have a Capricorn rising. So, and interestingly enough, I'm a Pisces sun. So I live in a lot of polarity.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Wow. But you're probably very grounded. That's good.
Yes. Yeah. And the Capricorn keeps the Pisces, balanced. So
yeah. That's awesome. What a story. Now I know there's so much more to you. Well, why don't you talk to us a little bit about human design and about specifically how you use human design to create balance in your life, and or how you use it when you're dealing with clients. How does this come in for you? How do you download this information?
Yeah, so as I said, it was like I kind of got these like light bulb moments, and the more that I've worked with it, the more I've been able to recognize my innate gift that I bring to the world. And I actually am very intuitive with the system, and even more importantly, like how this system expresses who you are. So I can identify characteristics through this system intuitively that allow me to know what past human conditioning that you've been under a constraint with, that then we can discuss and release, right? So there's several aspects to human design. It's actually a completely robust and complex system about who you are in the world and how to best express yourself. There's 3 characteristics when you first get introduced to human design that are the most important. And that is the archetype that you are, and the strategy that you're to use, and the authority that you can follow to know how to apply your strategy. So we are going to get into the 5 different archetypes today and how they actually interact with each other. It's really beautiful, this entire system, and how it creates so much unity when you can see the interaction. I personally believe that knowing about yourself, or giving yourself the permission to be exactly who you are expressed to be in this lifetime, is the most beautiful gift that you can be given. And that's how I work with human design.
That's great. That's how I work with astrology.
Yeah.
So I hear you. You're just speaking my language.
It's like the whole knowledge is power, but even more so, like, knowledge becomes wisdom when applied, right? So there's this beautiful facet that I have information about myself, and how do I utilize that and express it in the world physically, and then that actually becomes wisdom. So there's definitely a transformation effect that happens just from knowing this information about yourself.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, well, do some splaining.
Okay, so I'm explaining. So there are actually 5 archetypes, and we're going to start with the first one. And this is like, and I'm sure that you've heard this, Sally, you just have to go out there and make things happen, right? Like, as a society, we are told that that's like our way to get success, is go out there and make it happen. And I will tell you, according to human design, there is only one archetype that is energetically capable of achieving success in that way. And it's only 8% of the population. So we're talking a small fraction of the world is able to go out and make things happen. And they are actually called manifestors. And manifestors are exactly what you would think that they are. They are the visionaries of what the world can become. Now, they are these people that are incredibly full of creative ideas and may seem a little bit scattered, like not able to really tangibly execute many of those ideas. Like, they're just like an amazing idea person. They have a tremendous amount of energy. And how they're best to act in the world is to inform others about what they intend to do. Now, this doesn't mean that the manifestor works in a siloed effect. They're not really here to necessarily execute everything about their vision, but they're here to bring the idea and then work with the team to create the fruition of what can be expressed physically. Manifestors have issues with people because they typically are just moving. So they're very cerebral and they're moving in their head. And so people get angry with them very frequently, because if they're not communicating, they're not bringing anyone along on their journey, right? So people feel energetically as well as physically like they're outside of the sphere or the bubble of this person. And so a manifestor, if they can inform people what they're doing, then they create this inclusion, and it creates so much peace in their life that they don't experience without expressing it, because they're just trying to get ahead. They have a lot of pressure to move forward.
Got it.
So yeah,
so before what are you?
Oh, well, we will get to that.
Okay.
We are going to, we're actually going to talk about your type first. So Sally is
okay.
generator. And a generator is interesting because there's two types that are lumped together, and there's a generator and there's a manifesting generator. So there's a hybrid model between the generator and the manifester. Generators are essentially kind of the historically they've been like the worker bees, right? So they're like the little worker bees going out, and they have this insane amount of energy in life. And if they don't express that energy mentally and physically, they really have a hard time with sleep. Many of these types, from generators and manifesting generators, will suffer from insomnia. And it's because they've not expressed the amount of energy that they need to release to actually get into a relaxation mode or a REM state, if you will. So, and I'm sure, Sally, you could probably speak to maybe like having maybe some sleepless nights.
Yes, my head won't turn off. I'm going like, oh, I've got thousands of lists going on in my head all the time.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, it's definitely sometimes I just, I'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'll lay there and I'll go, okay, well, I'm just going to lay here. So I guess I might as well get up and get started, get cracking, it's exhausting.
Generators have a lot of pressure to produce. When you said like checklist, that's a huge generator aspect. Like, I want to just like get it done, get it done, get it done. And for as much as you get done, you add on 2 things for every one you check off, right? Because it's just like you can go. And the beauty of the generators is that you have the capability to bring energy to others and to bring energy into projects that are the key is that it needs to be aligned with things that you're passionate with. And historically, generators have not always aligned themselves with things that we're passionate, which does create, burnout, and you lose balance, right? So, and this is with anyone. I'm not speaking just specifically to generators, but if you're not excited about what you're doing in life, you're definitely draining your energy, and not in the most positive way. But in particular for the generator, their strategy in life is to respond to things. And that means that they have this pressure to get things done. And then they have this polarity aspect that it's like they're supposed to wait to respond to things to align for them and manifest physically. So a good example of this that I like to use, I'm going to go back to bees. I like bees today, I guess. But let's say that Sally was she had an idea to create like this bee balm. And it was like a lip balm. And Sally's like, oh, I have this idea. Well, rather than her just going, I'm all in and I'm going to create the logo and I'm going to create this company, really what should happen is she should just kind of like sit with the idea and like let it marinate in her sphere. And when that happens, Sally's driving around and she sees a billboard with a bee on it. And it's like, oh. And then she's like looking at the TV and the Cheerios guy comes on, right? The little honeybee. She is getting physical signs of synchronicity that this is a path that she should explore. And that's what I mean by to respond. It's to responding to outside circumstances that are showing you the way. So you don't want to ever ask in your alignment like yes or no questions to the universe, because you'll never get an answer. You will always be confused, right? However, if you can craft a question that is like, if this is intended for me, show me X, and then allow for the space for that synchronicity to manifest, they will have a very clear answer, because the no is just an indicator that it didn't happen, right? So it's a very interesting way. And the manifesting generator obviously has characteristics of both, and they have to align themselves. So they have to inform people what they want to do, and then they have to wait to respond to external environments. So they actually have two tasks that they need to do in their strategy. Interestingly enough, the generator accounts for 36% of the population, and the manifesting generator accounts for 33%. So 69% of the entire population of people fall in this category. Incredibly common. And yeah, and I think that Sally totally understands it. She's lived it. Living it.
I am. It's so crazy. And what you were saying about synchronicity, confirming yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. First of all, if it's an important decision, I'm either very impulsive about it and then I regret, it's like I have the buyer's remorse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then that keeps me out of balance, right? And then because I'm like, oh my, I've just got to get this done. I'm going to get it done. So I'm just going to make a decision quick, and, right. But when I'm really do sit back and I really do wait, then I do experience a lot of synchronicities.
Yes, synchronicity, and it creates ease in your life, right? So you have this flow of ease and balance, but it's tough to do because there's a lot of pressure for action based on who you are.
Yes, in fact, yes. In fact, I have a life coach, and she was one of the things that she shares, of course, when she's in an enrollment period, is that I can't remember who she cites, but it's a famous businessman or something that said that successful people, the one thing that sets successful people apart from those that aren't successful, I guess, in business, is the ability to make a quick decision. And so I've always operated on my ability to be able to make quick decisions. And see, now you're telling me, like, dang, I shouldn't be making those quick decisions.
Sally, it's really a beautiful point too, because we are drawn and inclined to as you're inclined to experiment with this, you begin to understand that those statements are meaningful to someone, and they really are. But that person was likely a manifester because he can make a quick decision and move on it, and it totally works out for him, right? Human design is about the uniqueness of who you are. It's about the essence of your special distinctions in life, not the commonalities, right? And I think that there's something beautiful of, if you have the aspect, I know that you have, your authority is an emotional, so your solar plexus. Some people, their authority is sacral, so it's a gut reaction, right? Have you ever heard someone say, well, just follow your gut? Well, I don't really know what that means because I've never felt my gut talk to me. But to someone who would have sacral authority, they would absolutely understand what that means. So for me, the beauty of this system is that it truly is the uniqueness of who you are and how to best express your energy physically in the world.
Wow, that is beautiful. That's beautiful.
Okay,
so how many more?
Yeah, we have two more on the list. We're going to go to the projector, and I'm actually a projector, so I can speak to this. But a projector is here to guide and manage the energy of others. Now, a projector has limited energy sources. So I'm the person that likes to sleep a lot. Some people, I struggled because people would call me lazy, but I was just tired. I get tired. And after recognizing who I was in human design, it became so clear to me why. It's because I do have limited energy reserves. I'm not the Energizer bunny that you bring to the table, And my strategy is actually to wait to be invited. And I will tell you, this was very, very eye-opening in my own life, because I would insert myself into someone's situation. Someone would tell me something and I would have some knowledge that would help them, and I would express it. But they didn't ask for it, and they would become like defensive, or like it created an energetic space that repelled me, right? Like kind of pushed me back. And when I recognized that I may have the knowledge and the wisdom to help guide most anyone, but by waiting to be invited, I am creating a space that I get people who appreciate what I'm extending to them. And that fulfills me, right? So there was something so profoundly beautiful about me understanding that I don't need to go out there and try to scramble and insert myself and show everyone how wonderful I am, right? Like, because sometimes I was doing that. I was like trying to push my way into, like, I have stuff that would be so great for you. Let me share it with you. And I feel like this is the asking for the invitation becomes aligning myself with divine timing in the right sequence of events that will be meaningful for me. And rather than focusing on things that I start to feel really bitter about. So the projector accounts for 22% of the population. And projectors are only able to guide and manage others' energies as in tune as they are with guiding and managing their own. And so that's allowing the space and allowing the relaxation and the downtime. I know that to the world, projectors look lazy. That's a condition that's been placed upon us. But it truly is necessary for us to be the most successful and create the energy that actually draws people towards us without effort, right? Again, with ease. So,
you know, I think I did share with you that someone pulled a chart on me, a human design chart. So this comes from a chart, right? You give your birth date, just like you would an astrological reading. And then
yes.
it comes out in a chart, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, because I think I saw mine.
That's free online, by the way. There's no charge for someone to get their own chart, just so everyone's aware.
Okay, that's great. Maybe you can give that, or maybe if you'll share that link with me. We'll
put it at the bottom of the video.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so, but the funny thing about this is that my husband takes more naps than I don't even know. Oh my God. And he can sleep later than anybody I know. And he could sleep sometimes for 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So he had his chart done at the same time I had mine done. And the first thing that she said to him was, "You're a projector. Here's the deal. You get permission to take lots of naps."
Yes.
All right. I was like, Sarah Croft, I'm going to kill you.
I remember in high school, I would sleep a lot. I mean, I would sleep 24 hours. And my father was desperately worried about like what was wrong with me. And I literally just needed that space and time. So, yes, projectors have permission to sleep. Some people are celebrating like hallelujahs right now, I promise.
They're going, that's me. I know that I'm one of those.
Exactly. Okay, so the last type is actually called a reflector. And these are I call them like the unicorns of the human design arena, because they're less than 1% of our population. So they're very rare. I've only met a couple in the whole time I've been doing this. But reflectors have this beautiful space that they provide, in that they do not have any energy that they draw from directly, which means they are literally a mirror of health for our entire society. So if you know a reflector, based on their behavior and how they're acting in the world, it will indicate the health of a community. Now, obviously, it's the health of the community that they choose to surround themselves with. And I will say, of all of the people, it is critical that the reflectors surround themselves with people that make them feel good, because they are literally feeling everyone. I mean, they would be the empaths of the world to like the nth degree. So I'd like to share with you quickly how I see them working together, because I feel like all of these aspects are for us to be a piece of a puzzle, a larger puzzle, that is. So let's say that you had someone who was creating a play. And so I look at the person who writes this play up as the manifester, right? Like they're the visionary for what they want to physically produce. And then you have the generator. And so the manifester creates this vision and they communicate it to the generator. And the generator would go and they would create all of the props. So they're physically creating things in the world to be expressed. So they're creating all of like the moons that get pulled up and all of the stuff that you would need in this play. And then you have the manifesting generator. And I would suggest that they are the actors or the people that are involved in the play. And it's because they will stay on script as a generator. But then what happens is they have autonomy for creative flair by being the manifester, right? So they're probably going to like ad lib a little bit. And then you have the projector, and the projector would be the director of this play. So they would organize and orchestrate everyone and what their expectations were to be and how they were to move onto stage and what that looked like. So they would actually direct this play. And then last but not least, you would have that reflector, and that reflector would actually be the audience. And that audience reflects back to the people that were involved in the play, how well they felt like that play was executed and went off. And I see this beautiful play being orchestrated by each and every one of us. And it's super meaningful that we all have a critical aspect to honor who we are so we can play a bigger part in the picture of society at large.
Wow, that's a beautiful example. That's really a beautiful example. How long did it take you to think that one up? Awesome, because I wondered what you just put it all in a nutshell. You have a great ability to explain human design. You have a wonderful ability to explain this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think my design says that I know things and speak them, and I think I can condense vast ideas and distill them into like meaningful stories, I guess. I fancy myself a little bit of a storyteller, so.
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah, this is awesome.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I do want to let everyone know, we'll post the link below. The chart is free. You will need your date, time, and location of birth. As Sally said, it'll be just like your astrology. And I also would like to give a free gift. I have a download that is 5 steps to experience ultimate transformation. And this is specific to human design, but it's a PDF that will kind of take you through what to begin experimenting with as you get your human design chart. And I guess we'll probably put that link below as well, Sally.
Yes, we will.
Wonderful.
Great. That's so. This has been a great interview. I'm
Thank
very,
you so much.
very, very pleased to meet you, and I can't wait to get together in Dallas for lunch or something.
Yes, we'll have to go brunch together, right?
I know it. I know exactly where you live and, all that good stuff. So
thank you so much, Sally. It's really an honor.
Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how much I thank you. I know that the viewers are going to get a lot out of this information. So have a wonderful day, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This was great.
You as well. Bye, everyone.